Hey everyone, Real Nerdy Teach 84 here, and today we're going to look at the top 10 things that I wish I knew in my first year of teaching. So let's go. All right, so number 10, give explicit directions for your lessons and expectations or your outcomes for those lessons. Uh, if you are trying to teach anything and you're doing 3 paragraphs of instructions, more than likely your children are going to be confused. I deal with this sometimes even today, that the kids are not really understanding what I've asked them to do. So one way that I try to fix this every day is by asking the students what they are expected to do. So that's my recommendation. If you're having problems with connections with the kids on what they're supposed to do, is ask them what they think they're supposed to do, and then you can correct it from there. Collaborate with other teachers, both inside and outside your department. Inside your department, I think this will help, especially first-year teachers or teachers teaching a new subject within their department, or lessons or how to get across content. The reason I say look at talking with teachers outside of your content is they may have an input on how to bring English and social studies together and make a decisive unit. Number 8, make your own opinions about your students. This is vital, especially as a new teacher. This is vital that you come up with your own opinions. Teachers will always tell you, hey, this kid's real bad, this kid, he's a good kid. But it is up to you and how you treat your students in your classroom. Going through and you're looking at making these decisions and opinions about these students, that you're also trying to use these opinions to push the student, be more available for that student. You never know who you're going to impact. You might be the only friendly face. You might actually be the person that affects them and pushes them forward. Number 7. All right. Most states, depending where you live, will probably have some form of a mentorship program for you as a new teacher or new to a subject. These are very effective if you use them wisely. My first year, I didn't use mine very wisely, partly because I was very bullheaded. I didn't really want to seek out help, always seek out help. But my mentor was also very busy. She had taken a role that was not in a teaching role, so I didn't see her in the hallways every day. So it was very difficult for both me and her to get together and collaborate. However, I did collaborate with teachers who were across the hall and ask them for suggestions and things for help. Find someone else to help you. People are always typically going to help those who ask for it. They're not going to seek you out. There are people in your corner. My first year, I had several people in my corner, both professionally and personally, that wanted me to succeed. Find people that are willing to help you. And sometimes they'll actually come seek you out. I personally had one of these my first year of teaching. I'm very dedicated to my job, and I spent a lot of time before after school and on Saturdays trying to become a better person in my profession. So one day I'm working on a Saturday, and I've been there since like 7 a.m. I know what's sleeping in when you're normally up at 4 o'clock. Up there at like 7 in the morning, and it's about 1 o'clock or so. And a fellow teacher, an English teacher, comes by with his mom and his brother, and was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I was like, "I've been working." He's like, "What time did you get here?" I was like, 7. He's like, "What time did you leave Friday?" I was like, 8:30 at night. He's like, "Man, like, I understand you're dedicated, but I feel like you shine that way, but you're going to burn out if you keep pushing yourself like this. Please find a way to give yourself time off. I had this teacher and another fellow teacher tell me that they take at least one day a weekend. They don't focus on anything dealing with their job. They focus on themselves. I have started doing this. It's still a work in progress, but hopefully this is one avenue to be able to do that. Number 5. I didn't really know how stressful teaching or becoming a teacher was going to be. I've been used to stress. I worked in law enforcement. I did management. But they talk to you about it in college, but you're not really knowing how stressful it is or how you're going to handle it until you're in the classroom. It's very cliche, but I would say think before you speak and act. I use this every day. I have to think about what I'm fixing to say and how I'm going to say it and how they possibly will react. Number 4, right? Find the reason you want to be a teacher. Hopefully your reason somewhere down the line, even if it takes you a couple years to find it, is to help these children and help society. But I use my drive, my reason that I became a teacher to push forward. You must keep this in your forefront in the amount of how you deal with the stress. I also tend to remind my students the value of their education or their choices multiple times in the year. Not just to remind them, hey, this is why Mr. Keller is here, but it's also a way to remind myself why I'm here. And to let them know that education is the most valuable thing that they can have. Their choices are the most valuable things they will ever do. And their integrity is the most valuable thing to them. Days will get hard and you will go, I don't want to do this anymore. If you think about your reason, you'll be able to move forward. Number 3, being flexible with how you teach and how you deal with the students. But they're still kids. They're still young in the brain. They're still young in the heart. And not every kid will feel appreciated, their actions or what they do. They will make huge mistakes in both learning the content and the outcomes and in society. It is up to us as the educator to show them the correct path. If we're always treating the students poorly, this could be showing poor social skills. Number 2, not every student is going to like you or your content. Most of us in society want to be liked. But the hardest thing is you can be liked, but you could not be respected. Fix this problem is not by caring if I'm liked or disliked. It's about caring whether or not I am giving and receiving respect. But today's society and with how things are going in our society, most people, young people, will kind of just tell you frankly how they feel about you. And it's not a very effective or conducive way to learn. So one way that I've been able to combat this is being as fair with my discipline across the board, whether the student's never been in trouble or if they're in trouble every day. Fairness equals respect. There is, by showing the respect or showing the fairness, you're also showing consistencies, which allows the kids to understand who you are as a teacher. Number 1, you will get angry at some point and probably say things that are really mean either to a faculty member or a student. You also might blow up in front of your class. I have personally done this. My first year, I spent most of the year mad almost every day at something my students have done throughout the day. And I spent almost every day yelling at my students, which became a huge problem later down the road. It became somewhat of a game, I think, to my students on whether or not they could see myself get angry in the class and how far they could push me. One day, it came to a head and I blew up at the class. This is the moment that I knew I had lost my control of myself. Not just the role as an educator or the room. I lost control of myself towards an adolescent. And so what I did, I immediately ended the lesson, put them on some book work, sat back down and tried to immediately reflect and cool down. I spent the rest of the day worried. I spent the next day worried. And when the class came back the day and a half later, I spent the first 10 minutes apologizing to the class for my actions. And then I spent a few minutes apologizing directly to the student, in which he in turn apologized to me about the way that they had treated me the last little bit. Did this make everything okay? No. Did it fix the classroom immediately? No. But it did show that if I made a mistake, I would be willing to own up to that and apologize for it. This allows the students to see that you're human. Everyone makes mistakes. Own up to it and apologize. I also was able to reflect on whether or not how I wanted to continue that approach to these students. And so I made a promise to myself, and then the next year when I moved up with these students, to not lose control of that like that ever again. That was 3 years ago, and I've not done that since. I've gotten loud, but I've never been so mad at a individual student where I apologize and reflect, move forward. I want to thank you for watching. If you've liked what you heard and think others will appreciate it, please share this video and subscribe. And hit that like button. I'm looking for about 25 likes on this video. Let's see if we can hit that goal. I have a couple social media outlets that you can follow me on. On Instagram, I'm on the Real Nerdy Teach 84, and then I have a Facebook page that is Real Nerd Teach 84. And again, thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this video, and remember, set yourself up for success with your mindset. Thank you.